So every few years, an article comes out about Steven Adams. Always. It's always the same. It's like, middle of November, and there's like nothing really happening yet except for drama. So let's write a puff piece on Steven Adams and his incredible inhuman strength. Stories always crack me up. They're always like filled with random anecdotes from players you would think had nothing to say about Steven Adams, but they always do. The latest out of Memphis talks about Brandon Clark. Brandon Clark is backup center for the Grizzlies, but he has to guard Steven Adams in practice. He's the scrimmage victim to Steven Adams. And Brandon Clark said this about Steven Adams, which I thought was hilarious. He said, Steven Adams makes me feel like I shouldn't even be out here. It's like I'm trying to get aboard and he doesn't move. He's just not moving. He is the strongest person I've ever played against. Yeah, and if you watch him, he's just impossible to move out of the way. He has so many anecdotes about rooting himself into the ground and how his legs are the center of his strength and how he can't lift any weights, but who gives a fuck because he's stronger than everybody out in the court. He averages as many as 5 offensive rebounds a game at times during his career. And so these stories about him being a freak of nature were plucked from various versions of these Steven Adams strongest man in the universe conversation. But Duncan Robinson said there's always this unanimous number one strongest guy, and it's always Steven Adams. He's a terror. Jeremy Grant said, yeah, he's the strongest. But it was Jimmy Butler, I think, that was the funniest. He was like, that motherfucker's strong. Like, I'm serious. He hit me with one screen, and I thought my life was over. He's from Krypton or something. So, you might ask yourself, where does this superhuman strength come from? Long hours in the weight room, perhaps? Strongman contest, Pilates, yoga, ghee butter like Aaron Rodgers, ayahuasca out in the desert? No. According to Steven Adams in an ESPN article from 2019, he says it's the sauna. The sauna is what gives him this superhuman strength. He says that there's mythical powers. The sauna has some mythical powers in Adam's mind, the ability to tweak body chemistry, release hormones, and increase strength. The research behind it, mate, he says. You can bloody ask one of those guys who's got a degree, bloody science, whatever. I'm a big fan of science, but whoever searched that up, cool, because I'm a fan of the sauna. 7 feet 270, just chilling in the sauna, just getting strong. Just getting strong. And with Jaren Jackson out for another 2 months, I think his role only grows. I think he's going to only become more and more important. And he is just out there making things easy for Ja. And he's an enforcer. You can't fuck with little old Ja. You can't take him out of the air, or you've got Steven Adams to deal with. Can't ask for more than that in your starting center.